Throughout history, there have been countless unexplainable stories, events, and moments captured on audio. These horrifying tapes were archived, never to be heard again. Until now. These are the tapes of trepidation. Tape number 100. NotWife.
Hi there. To whoever is hearing this. Our therapist thought it'd be a good idea for me to journal my side of the story and share any other feelings I may have to help work through it. So I'm assuming he's hearing this, or maybe an assistant's transcribing it. Or you're neither, and you found my recorder. Which, well, I guess you've made it this far, so you'll maybe want to hear my story. I'm what you call a heavy sleeper. I sleep like the dead. In fact, you could put an air horn next to me and blow that fucker. And there's about a 50-50 chance it might not wake me up. I even slept through a damn fire alarm once. Thank God it was just a faulty battery. My beautiful wife, on the other hand, is a rather light sleeper. Unlike my comatose ass. It makes for an interesting sleep marriage. That's the part that nobody tells you about when you move in together. That even if you spend a few nights in a row together throughout your dating tenure, once you are officially sleeping in the same bed together every night, it can be a real issue if your sleep styles clash. We've had a few less than desirable moments due to this. One or two ending with me snapping back a little too harshly at her, just for gently asking me to try and be a little quieter when coming to bed. A fair request that just caught me off guard the first few times she asked. You could say I was pretty oblivious to how loud I was. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all this to tell you that my wife of 5 years is unable to sleep in the same bed as me, and that every other morning I wake up to her at the kitchen table, bloodshot eyes bearing into me in a way that says, if murder was legal, I'd jab this knife into your neck just to watch the blood flow out. While taking a sip from a far too strong cup of coffee. No, it's quite the opposite actually. Sure, I may still wake her up coming to bed despite my best efforts, or if I have to get up for the call of nature. However, a soft apology with a little cuddle or hand squeeze or maybe even some back tickles quickly dissuades any onset of frustration at her nocturnal rest being so violently disrupted by her, well-meaning but insistently loud and clumsy husband. Subtle as a sawn-off shotgun, she'd describe me with that crooked smirk and light giggle. The kind of smirk that would show off just a little bit of her upper row of teeth, all while planting a warm kiss on my cheek or forehead. That's my wife. Warm, kind, a bit of a ball buster in the best kind of way. And as beautiful as the setting sun on the most perfect summer evening you've ever seen. So yeah, I'll deal with any odd sleep marriage situations that we may come across. Because I hit the fucking jackpot otherwise. outkicked my coverage big time. Even my closest friends thought I was dying of some incurable disease after seeing us together for the first time. Ain't no way this isn't some kind of a Make-A-Wish type situation. I don't blame them for saying that. I swear to God, I find myself just staring at her sometimes, wondering how the hell I got so damn lucky. I don't think I'll ever get over it. Which is why what we've been dealing with over the last couple of months has been so hard. You see, over the past several weeks, something has been taking my wife's place in our bed, taking over her body, and sleeping next to me every single night. How do I know this? Because now she's the one who sleeps like the dead. From the moment her head hits the pillow, she's out cold. Something that used to take her at least an hour to achieve. She doesn't make a sound, and even her breathing is so silent, I've been checking to make sure she's still alive. Just lying there, like a statue, or like a wax figure of herself. Utterly unmoving. At least, she or it was for the first few days once this change happened. And then, she wasn't. That's the worst part. In that first night, I haven't been the same since. After a little over a week of her sudden onset of heavy sleepiness, I was relieved in a way, but still asked her about it out of curiosity. She didn't have much to tell me aside from her mind fading to black as soon as she lay her head down. Her dreams were way more vivid, but nothing she was overly concerned about. She wasn't much of a dreamer before. So, looking back, that maybe should have been a red flag. We just chalked it up to her getting older. She had just turned 31, so it's not like your body doesn't change as you age. So I didn't bring it up again until the first incident. I was up late working on the final draft of an action plan for work before the yawning finally got the better of me and I stumbled down the hall to get some shut-eye. I quietly tiptoed over to my side of the bed, slowly pulled up the cover, and gently slid into our warm bed. All of this was out of habit, even though she'd been sleeping soundly through the night. No matter what I did, I certainly wasn't going to test it though. I gently rested my hand near her shoulder, just for a second, until I felt her chest rise and fall. Still breathing, that's a good sign, I said internally with a slight shake of my head. I was still very much getting used to the change. About an hour later, I woke up to the strangest feeling. I rubbed my eyes and tried to adjust them to the dark around me. The unmistakable feeling of being watched pulling me from unconsciousness. I panned around the room, half expecting to see a burglar or a sleep paralysis demon standing in the corner of the room. But there was nothing. I let out a quiet sigh, turning to my side, facing towards my wife as I often do when I sleep. When I was met with her face inches away from mine. Her eyes were wide open, glassy and huge, and her mouth opened up in a smile that was not fucking right. The shock of what I saw caused me to scream. I threw myself out of the bed and onto the floor with a thud. Scrambling to my feet, I turned on her bedside lamp and focused my attention back on my wife. She continued to lie in the same position, unmoving, her eyes fixated ahead, mouth stuck in that wide smile. I was suspended in reality for more than a few minutes, frozen in fear I'd never felt before. Then, like a slap to the face, it hit me. Holy shit! Is she alive? I ran over to her, any trepidation I had leaving my body in an instant, just wanting to make sure the love of my life was okay. I reached my hand out to check her pulse, and as I did, her eyes shifted to look directly at me. That was the last thing I expected, and once again I threw myself back. When I stumbled to my feet, she was turned over, facing the other side of the room. By this point, my heart was racing so fucking fast I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I slowly walked over to her side of the bed to see if her eyes were still open. I found that she was fast asleep. Or rather, she was until I had been staring at her for more than a few seconds. And she slowly opened her eyes in the way I was used to. Baby, what's wrong? Are you okay? Her eyes blinked to adjust to the light before throwing the covers off herself and quickly moving toward me when she saw the state I was in. Oh my God, you're shaking. What happened? She said as she wrapped her arms around me. I hesitated for just a second until I looked into her eyes. This was my wife. No question. They were the eyes that I fell for in seconds upon looking into them for the first time. The eyes that made me actually believe not only in love at first sight, but true love. This was my wife. I didn't know what to say, so I said the only thing that I could rationalize at the moment. I just had a really bad dream. A proper screaming Mimi. I was still trying to calm myself down. She brought my head down to rest on her chest and stroked my hair. Within seconds, the anxiety and terror from the incident washed away, and we were lying in each other's embrace on our bed. Holding my wife, I convinced myself it really was just a bad dream, and fell asleep. I would discover 4 nights later that it was, in fact, not just a bad dream. It was just after 2 a.m. when I woke up with the sudden urge to empty my bladder. The fucking joys of being in your mid-30s. I slowly lifted the cover off myself and slid out of bed, turning to see my wife was still asleep, her chest gently rising and falling. I tiptoed to the bathroom, turning on the low-watt shower stall light that provided just enough light to cast an eerie yellow glow over the whole space. Concluding my business while aiming for the side of the toilet bowl, another holdover from years of trying to be as quiet as possible, I softly put the lid down, and I flushed. Which I guess kind of defeats the purpose of the whole pee on the side of the bowl as to not make so much noise task I had completed seconds earlier. Turning to walk over to the sink, I came face to face with the wide-eyed and mouthed version of my wife, less than 2 inches away from my face. An ugly yellowish hue was overtaking her from the shower stall light as her eyes bored into me. And her smile was even more upsetting than before. I screamed and fell backwards onto the toilet, slipping off and falling onto the floor. I scurried over to the light switch and flicked it on, only to find my wife was gone. No, not gone. back in bed, like nothing had happened. I breathed heavily, both out of fear and from the sudden burst of movement. After taking a few minutes to catch my breath, I sighed. There's no way she could have made it back into bed that quickly. I'm losing my fucking mind. Truth be told, I wish I were. I really wished that I was. What had to be 3 nights later, I had another midnight awakening to relieve myself. This time, I was super cautious. Every other step, I turned my head to see if she was still in bed. She was. Taking what felt like 7 minutes to make my way to our ensuite bathroom, I stopped at the threshold, looking down and shaking my head with a smirk. "You've got to get a hold of yourself," I said quietly, reaching my hand out to flip on the switch for the shower stall light. Stepping into the washroom, I lifted my head and was met with the terrifying vision of my wife less than an inch away from my face, our noses almost touching. Those huge, soulless eyes staring right at me. Her mouth brought up into an even bigger smile than before. It seemed like she was straining to try and make her smile wider, but her jawbone wouldn't allow it. I screamed. God damn did I scream. My voice finding an octave I didn't even know I had. As it cracked in pain, the most guttural, primal sound I've ever made as I turned and ran out of our room. I turned to see if she was chasing me, only for her to be back in bed under the covers sleeping, like a little fucking angel, as if the encounter we just had never happened. I fell to the floor and started to weep uncontrollably. Tears of horrifying confusion and raw terror were overcoming me in a wave of emotion. Seconds into what I would classify as a sort of nervous breakdown, the love of my life opened her eyes, rubbing them in confusion. Seeing her husband sitting on the floor in an uncontrollable, absolute emotional collapse, she called out to me, throwing the covers off and rushing to my side. She wrapped her arms around me and kept asking me what was wrong, what had happened. I hesitated for just a second to accept her embrace, pulling away slightly. After all, just a minute ago, she was not my wife. No, she was something else. Now, however, I looked into the eyes of the woman who had been my rock throughout the absolute lowest moments of my life. The person I wanted to grow old with. The future mother of my children. It was her. Undoubtedly, it was her. So, I let myself fall back into her arms and just wept. She kissed my forehead and ran her hand through my hair, trying everything she could to comfort me, saying we'd talk about it when I was ready. In that moment, I legitimately thought I was losing my mind. How could this gentle and loving woman have such a shift? Was I hallucinating? I even pinched myself a couple of times to make sure I was awake, that this was real, and I had no idea what to do at this point. After a while, laying there on the floor with her, I ended up falling asleep. Over the next couple of days, I explained to her what had happened. Now, looking back, this was probably a mistake. But But what else could I do? She needed answers as to why she woke up to her husband having a legitimate emotional breakdown in our hallway. Once I explained, she understood. There was no judgment in her responses, only concern and a determination to get to the bottom of it. We theorized that she was possibly having manic sleepwalking episodes, which could explain her bizarre and downright terrifying behavior. I made it very clear from the moment I shared the incidents with her that I didn't blame her and that I didn't want her to feel guilty. It wasn't her fault, but something was clearly wrong. She visited her doctor and was referred to a sleep specialist. Thank God. There had been a couple of minor incidents during that time period, but nothing as extreme as the last bathroom incident. I'd wake up to find her staring at me, the same unsettling way. I'd just force myself to turn over and try to fall back asleep, knowing full well she was staring at the back of my head. We were fortunate that the sleep specialist squeezed her in just a few days later, as he had read up about her case and felt she could be in danger. Apparently, in some cases, manic sleepwalkers can fully leave their homes and engage in uncharacteristic activities. He assured us, however, that he would be able to get to the bottom of it with just one study. Usually, tests weren't needed for your average sleepwalkers, but her case was unique. The sleep doctor wanted to hook her up to a machine that would read her brainwaves so he could see what was happening. The study was scheduled for the following week, the earliest he could get us in. I should say that was not an easy week. You might say it was the worst incident we had. Up to this point, anytime I'd woken up to find that my wife was not herself, she was either just staring at me or watching me. There had never been any physical interaction, and I never actually really saw her move, aside from maybe a head movement here or there. But that all changed on this night. A couple of nights after the initial consultation, I woke to what would usually be a bit of a fantasy of mine, if I'm being honest. I opened my eyes and was met with my wife's naked body straddling me, her hands slowly working at lowering my boxer shorts. To say I was taken aback would be an understatement. It had always been a fantasy of mine to be woken up by her in such a way. She always teased me that one night she'd make it come true. I guess that was this night. I blinked a few times as I looked up, expecting to see that devilish lip bite she knew drove me insane. But what I was met with was not that. I was met not with the face of the woman whom I'd made love to more times than I could count, but the soulless, glassy eyes and a horrid smile of whatever the fuck this thing was that took over my wife's body. I tried to push her off, but she pushed me back down on the bed with force, her head tilting ever so slightly, but not in an angle that made sense. It was as if her neck was bending at a full 90-degree angle, or at least was trying to. I screamed for her to get off me and tried to shove her again. This time I used enough force that she fell backwards onto the floor. I jumped out of bed, but she was right up on me, inches away from my face. But this time, she was kneeling on the ground. her neck still at that near 90-degree angle. I screamed and pushed her out of the way, running out of our room, down the hall and down the stairs. I was nearly out the front door when I stopped to look up and saw her at the top of the stairs. I froze in place. Her eyes locked onto me, her smile still straining against her jaw, her head tilting. Then, for the first time, I saw her take a step forward. Before I could comprehend what was happening, she was tumbling down the stairs. I ran and broke her fall as best I could. Luckily, our staircase isn't that high, but the jolt of it was enough to bring my wife back. She came to, naked, with me cradling her in my arms, looking up at me. She had tears in her eyes. She was horrified, and so was I. I just held her there for a minute before I carried her back to bed, ensuring she was all right from the fall and slipping her favorite old shirt of mine on. I felt like a coward for running. I'm just glad that I stopped and looked up, and then it snapped me out of it knowing my wife was going to get hurt. This had to be the last time. We needed answers. We had put all our faith in this doctor. I wish I could tell you that we got the answers we so desperately needed. I wish with all my heart I could, but the tests were inconclusive. I'm not sure how the hell a sleep test where you have dozens of wires hooked up to you all over your body could be inconclusive. But here we are. The doctor said it may be anxiety or a type of mental disorder, and recommended that she see a psychotherapist. He actually recommended we both did, due to the trauma I've been suffering. At this point, my normally cheery demeanor was less than favorable. I was frustrated, confused, and fucking terrified. Try not feeling safe next to the one person you normally feel safest with. Try waking up throughout the night and being terrified that you'll see that person staring at you, or straddling you, or standing over you, or hell, maybe even hanging from the fucking ceiling. It's not something I wish on anybody. After a few minor incidents, resulting in my further deteriorating sleep health, and my wife's growing hesitation to even have naps due to the effect it was having on me, we were finally able to get in to see a psychotherapist. It's been an ongoing process for both of us, hence the journals. So far, there's nothing that's really come up for her that would explain these sleep episodes, but we're gonna keep at it. She fully blames herself for this situation, not just for how it's affecting her, but also how it's affecting me. And I just feel horrible about that. I reinforce all the time that this is not her fault. But there's only so much I can do. When she's awake, she's still the woman I love. No doubt. Even sitting here right now, I still have nothing but the utmost love for her. None of this is her fault. At her request, and with some serious convincing from her therapist, I started sleeping in her spare room. She wanted me to get at least a few nights of good sleep, thinking that maybe if I wasn't in bed with her, perhaps these incidents wouldn't take place. It turns out she was right. I woke up this morning on what is the 8th night of our temporary sleep divorce and just hugged her. It's been really hard to be away from each other while we sleep. It's been at least 7 years since we last slept apart. I am, however, feeling much better overall. And she's thrilled about that. We ended up having a really awesome day together. And, well, to be honest, I feel really good right now, getting all this out. Still some more I gotta dig into, but this feels like a good place to end off for now. I did not realize how long I've been talking, so sorry, Doc, if you're hearing this, or to the aforementioned assistant, or the random person who's hearing this. I'm gonna pick up the rest tomorrow and talk a little bit about our plans and some other things that my therapist wants me to talk about. But I'm feeling pretty good about all this. Hey again. So this is maybe a bit unorthodox, but I wanted to record this just in case. Earlier this evening, we ended up laying in bed together to cuddle and watch a movie before going our separate ways to sleep. Before we knew it, we both promptly fell asleep. I woke up a few minutes ago with a sudden jolt, and I looked around, but she wasn't in bed. Thinking maybe she had gotten up to lie in the spare room, I made my way over, wanting to carry her into our actual bedroom so she could get a better sleep. She never liked the mattress in our spare room. Entering the room, I found that she wasn't in bed. Immediately, I got a chill up my spine, like I could feel her eyes on me. But I couldn't find her. I'm making my way down to the living room. I'm gonna turn on the light and Oh. She's just standing looking out the window. Maybe I was wrong to think she's having an episode. She is a people watcher after all, and sometimes our neighbors are a bit crazy even at this time of night. Baby? What's going on? Why are you... Oh, fuck! Jesus Christ! Fuck. 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 She turned around, and the blood just left my face. Her eyes just bore into me, glassy and big. Her smile is the largest it's ever been, and the sides of her mouth are legit starting to crack and bleed as she tries to make the smile even wider. And then she took a step towards me, and I absolutely fucking lost it. I ran out of the room into our kitchen. I looked back, and she was coming after me in an awkward shuffling gait as if she didn't quite know how legs worked. I had trapped myself in the kitchen as she made her way in, all the while her gaze not leaving me. Thinking quickly, I turned off the lights and she seemed to stop. I'm trying to catch my breath and to calm down. I'm staring at whatever this thing that looks like my wife is. I can barely see her except for an outline caused by the light coming in through the kitchen window. But her smile, her teeth, I can see them clear as day. The teeth are so fucking white. And they don't look right. They're so much bigger than they should be. My wife has always had the most beautiful smile. It was one of the first things I fell in love with. But this smile? It's not right. It's filled with malicious intent, insanity, desolation, and a sick fucking desire. What does it want? It's slowly walking towards me. I'm trapped. I don't want to hurt her. I'd never hurt her. It lulled me into a false sense of security, thinking I was safe, just not sleeping in bed with her. I was wrong. It's coming. What is it? What does it want? Why is it doing this? Huh? Answer me. What the fuck do you want? Why are you doing this? What are you? It's right in front of me. It's holding up its hand, showing me her ring? No, fuck you. Fuck you. You're not my wife. You're not her. You fucking monster. Give her back. Please, give her back. I just want her back. Get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. No. You're not my wife. 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 Not my wife. Not my wife. Not my wife. Not wife. Not wife. Not wife. Not wife. This has been tape number 100, NotWife, by the Tapes of Trepidation Horror Narration Podcast. NotWife was written by me, TJ Hodder. Narration, production, and sound design for this episode was also by me, TJ Hodder. Credits for music and any additional sound design can be found in the show notes. The Tapes of Trepidation theme was written by the incredible J.M. Scherf. All logos, banners, overlays, and graphic design work was provided by the talented Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts. The cover art used for this episode was provided by Lytder Designs, using elements from Pexels, Adobe Stock Images, and Canva. If you have a story you would like to submit, or question regarding the show, please contact us at tapesoftrepidation@gmail.com. Support the show by subscribing and leaving a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher, or like and subscribe on YouTube. And be sure to tell your friends. Word of mouth is extremely helpful to a podcast like this one. And check us out on social media through the link tree in the show notes. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. And if you'd like to support the show a little more, consider joining the Tapes of Trepidation Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can gain access to monthly bonus short story / micropasta narrations, the weekly behind-the-scenes podcast within the archive, and more. So come, join us, and become trapped within the archive. Just like my current patrons, Doozer Pin Dan, Ronan Kumori, Patrick Stewart, Madam Strangeways, Tori, Kai Faden, and what's this? On a monumental milestone episode of Tapes of Trepidation, we have two new patrons to shout out. First off, we have JT Johnson. That's right. The same JT Johnson who you may recognize from her stories from creepy such as Miss Marygo, The Thing in Grandma's House, and Sleepwalking, just to name a few of my favorites she's done. And she's also the author who's responsible for what was probably my favorite story from this year's 12 Scares of Christmas here on Tapes of Trepidation, The Christmas Circus. JT is a phenomenal author and supporter of this podcast. You will definitely hear more stories from her in the very near future. She may or might have already submitted them, and I love them, because she is genuinely one of my favorite authors. JT, thank you so much for all the support. It is seriously appreciated, and I'm honored to have you as a patron. And last but not least, Daryl Rivas. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Just let me know. Daryl, thank you so much for joining. Your support truly means the world to me, and I am so grateful to have it. be sure to reach out and let me know if you're enjoying the content. I always love to hear from my patrons and see what they enjoy specifically from Patreon and things they maybe want from me. So hit me up. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you all so much for the support. I could not do this without my patrons. Well, dear listeners, we're here. Tape number 100. I'm thrilled, and I cannot thank every single one of you enough for all your support. If you've ever taken the time to listen to this podcast, send me a message, share the podcast, tell someone about the podcast, just thank you. This really has been just the most wonderful experience for me, and I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of it. I'd like to give a few specific shout-outs, though, to 3 people who truly helped make this show possible, and their inputs have been crucial. First and foremost, a huge shout-out to J.M. Sharf, the maestro behind the Tapes of Trepidation theme. All versions of it. J.M., hearing what you came up with for the intro really made me step it up music-wise. And in so many ways, your input has influenced the music and tone of this show. Thank you so much for all the support. Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts, the graphics guy for Tapes of Trepidation, and genuinely one of my favorite people in the world. Jason has had my back with graphic work for over 10 years now with different projects, and I really consider him family. When I told Jason I was finally getting into this world, his exact reaction was, "That's about time." And then he sent me a logo, I want to say 5 minutes later. So, yeah, you could say that his support has been very important. Jason, seeing the Tapes of Trepidation logo you came up with really made this real. And I can never thank you enough for everything you've done for me over the years, and for this podcast specifically, including the brand new cover art overlay that you guys are going to be seeing going forward, which he actually just surprised me with, because that's just the kind of guy he is. Thank you for everything, brother. I seriously couldn't do this without you. And finally, a humongous shout out to my beautiful, spooky wife, Sam. Your unwavering support and love throughout this whole endeavor has been nothing short of amazing. The times you've pushed me when I needed it, the times you've allowed me to spill all my creative thoughts out to you, even if we were in the middle of something else, and the times you've given input when I needed the honest truth. The fact that you're now getting into this world with me has me beyond excited, and I cannot wait to work with you more on it. I love you, and I am so appreciative of you every day. Listen, I could sit here and thank several more people, but I'm just going to say one more time, blanket statement. Thank you to everyone who has supported this podcast. There is so much more to come, and I hope you're all coming along for the ride. All content used on Tapes of Trepidation is either original, used with permission, or is available under Creative Commons by Share Alike license. All rights reserved, unless otherwise stated. Licensing information can be found in the show notes. This podcast and its content may not be redistributed or rebroadcast, but the express written consent of Tapes of Trepidation and the story's author. Thank you all so much for listening.